throws. That's huge.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
big. And then 11 touchdowns.
I got it on the charger now, folks, which will be good.
The other thing about Andrew
The
Bynum,
SWAC Media
the game
Day
isn't too big for him.
No.
team
He
two, second
looked
team.
comfortable, and we were there when he got thrown in there, right? We were like, well, what's he gonna do? Well, what's he gonna do? Is play really, really well and lead his team. He never got rattled. He had some tough moments. I want to say the first drive, he got literally knocked the heck out almost, but he just kept battling, kept going out there, and did a great job of growing. We'll see where this guy goes. I think Scotty.
Joining him in the backfield, Nico Duffy from Alcorn State, and of course Jaden Stewart from Prairie View A&M. And Jaden Stewart, as the season went on, he got better and better. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about Duffy and then about Stewart.
Yeah, well, Duffy's 805 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that is a solid performance. And again, we'll see where he goes from there. And again, Stewart, 7 touchdowns, 657 yards. He's a really, really good running back. And again, I think the opportunities there for them to have even bigger seasons and more impact on the team.
Sorry, folks, I had to get my charger.
Just coming this year, they're going to rely more and more on Jaden Stewart. Let's check out the offensive line now as we go through Southern University again. Jeremiah Stafford there leading the way. Then how about Brian Williams, also from Southern? So 2 offensive linemen from Southern. Cameron Colvin from Florida A&M, Carson Vinson from Alabama A&M, and then Arrington Taylor from Prairie View. That would wrap up our offensive line.
And again, you know, everything starts with the offensive line. So you want these guys, obviously they've done really, really well where they're sitting. These guys are leaders on their team. As these guys go, that team will follow.
2 wideouts to talk about. The first one is C.J. Bowler from Alcorn State. C.J. had a great year last year, but this season he will be without his quarterback, of course, Felix. He's not there anymore, and so that's going to be a big deal for him. Felix Harper.
Yeah, 40 catches, 668 yards, and he's a guy who can take it to the house given the opportunity, and he's looking for big things to happen.
Always. And then this may be my favorite receiver at all. I'm surprised this guy was not inserted on the first team, and that is Malachi Weidman. He didn't start the year as a starter at Jackson State, kind of worked his way into the lineup, got Coach Prime's confidence, and he's just exciting. I mean, he's I mean, you look at his stats, and I was checking it out a minute ago. Look at how many touchdowns he had. 12 touchdowns. This guy's just explosive.
Yeah, when you can find the end zone that many times, that is absolutely exciting. I mean, it's special when you get there. And again, you're right. We did a few of his games, and I mean, he was always, and we were always waiting for him to explode, and he did. He never failed.
Touchdowns in one game. I mean, he just had a phenomenal year. I mean,
It's a season for some.
He should be better and better as the season goes along this year. And finally, our tight end for this group, Jaron Johnson from Texas Southern University. He had 32 receptions last year.
Yeah, 467 yards, 3 touchdowns. And again, he's primed and ready to see what he can do with Texas Southern. He's going to be looking for bodies saying, hey, give me the ball. Let me go.
Let's go from offense to defense now. We will go to the defensive line, and there we have some good ones to talk about. Jalen Bell from Mississippi Valley State, Troy James from Prairie View A&M, Devonta Davis from Jackson State, and how about Afton Smith from Arkansas?
Devonta Davis.
All outstanding defensive linemen.
Yeah, I'll just focus on Devonta Davis. This guy is explosive and keeps coming. And I think when you're relentless like that, that's always catches my eyes. And when we watch him play, he won't stop. And that's a great character when you're a defensive lineman for sure.
Tariq Cooper now leads the linebacker group across.
Oh yeah, in case you wondered.
6 foot, 260 pounds, and we've seen him play a lot last year too.
In case y'all missed it, man, Shiloh Sanders was first team all SWAC defense at safety. If you don't think somebody gonna get mad about that shit.
Alcorn State, Cherry Luss, excuse me. He's a transfer from UMass, and he did a lot for the Braves on defense last year.
The Braves defense was really good, and when you look at a great defense, you tend to look and, okay, where's that linebacker crew coming from? And he certainly delivered.
Let's wrap up the linebackers with Blake Thomas from Grambling State. And then now we're going to move into the secondary where we have 4 good defensive backs, starting with Cameron Silman Craig from Jackson State. And Jackson State had so many defensive backs. I remember Coach Prime telling us, whoever is going to have the better week in practice, that's who's going to start, because I have that many outstanding defensive backs.
And that's what I'm saying. The pressure, not only from your head coach and who he was, who he is, but how he manages defensive backs. Whoever plays the best will play, period. So you say, I'm the starter. You're not the starter until that week goes and he says you're ready to play. He's backed guys out. And so that type of pressure, so game day, they say, I'm ready to go because all week I've been battling.
The rest of the secondary has Quinn Mitchell from Grambling, Caleb Brunson from Mississippi Valley State, and Javan Morgan from Florida A&M. An outstanding group indeed. Let's check out the preseason specialists here on the second team. And we have a young man named Garrett Urban who's doing double duty. He's a double threat because he's our field goal kicker and our punter. Of course, he went to Fort Bend Travis in Houston, Texas, doing a good job for the Grambling Tigers. He was
got to figure out
last year in kicking with 17 out of 24.
I wonder if he gets himself 2 plaques, right? So he gets a double plaque for being punter and kicker. So congratulations to him as well.
And of course, our long snapper is Desmond Calloway from Prairie View, and the return specialist, you're going to remember this guy, Darnell Dees from Bethune-Cookman University. He had an 89-yard return against Alabama A&M, ran 2 back last year, and he's another guy who's a threat to go all the way.
And run specialist, that's what you're looking for, right? You want a guy that can break something, make something out of nothing. Because look, let's face it, you got to be fearless, you got to be a little crazy, and you got to be able to make something happen. He does that.
Quickly, our offensive and defensive players of the year, that's not going to be a surprise because we've already talked about these 2 young men. So these are our preseason picks for offensive and defensive player of the year. The offensive player of the year, no surprise at all, Shador Sanders from Jackson State. And we're going to take a look at some highlights of this young man because I talked about his poise. You can see it right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's able to stand in there. He gets a little bit of happy feet, but he stays in the pocket. He doesn't just jump out and run, right? He relaxes and makes the look at the delivery right there. Fake, boom, goes right to his guy. Again, that's wide open, so that's nice. But again, he's calm. And really, it's that leadership. When you watch him without the ball, in between plays, that's where I'm really impressed as well. How he handles his teammates. There were moments where you saw him just calm people down.
And we mentioned he completed 66% of his passes. What we didn't say was, for most of the year, he was above 70% in the completion percentage. So that young man is outstanding. And then you throw in the 30 touchdowns. He is our preseason offensive player of the year.
Deservingly so, and I'm really anxious, quite frankly, to see where he goes. Where's his ceiling? Because he was exciting to watch. Where's he going?
Yeah, I was going to say, how much do you think he can improve? Because he came in as a true freshman. Now, he was there in the spring, so it gave him time to kind of mesh with some of his teammates.
Well, but I think when we first saw him the first time, he looked like a different player the second time we saw him. There was that much advancement. And it wasn't just the performance and numbers, right? It was his statue on the sidelines, his looking at players, moving them around. That's what changed. He became the leader, and it's kind of like what Coach Prime talks about, right? He doesn't believe in the whole captain thing. He's more about the L, right? Most people go, oh, no, leader. And you carry that L, he'll take it away. It's not a given thing. And his son was the man who accentuated that. He was a leader all the time, on or off the field.
You can't argue with numbers, folks.
Watching him work, that's what was impressive.
A lot of people are saying he's not a good quarterback, but apparently
Player of the year,
everybody else has said it right.
SWAC team, and that would be Isaiah Land from Florida A&M. And we mentioned he has a motor on him. He gets around that edge, and he does a lot of damage on defense for the Rattlers.
Yeah, and again, he's just relentless. A guy who keeps going, and again, he'll bend up. Look how his position was perfectly. He had that tackle on that left inside, kept his outside arm open, and he's ready to eat. I mean, look how he looks hungry when he comes around that corner. He is hell on wheels, literally.
25.5 tackles for loss, and then you mentioned the most important stat just a couple of minutes ago: 19 sacks.
It's one thing to say I deliver sacks. It's another thing to deliver it. And he does. He gets there and finishes. You got a lot of guys that can disrupt, but there are certain guys that find a way to finish. He doesn't. He dines on the quarterback, dines in the backfield.
SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, all SWAC first team last year. Buck Buchanan Award winner, National Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sure Coach Willie Simmons can't wait to get that guy back in the lineup again on that defense for the Rattlers.
You just unleash him is what you do, right? You just say, go get him, sick him. And that's exactly what he does. I mean, again, he's got bend to him. And again, I like the way he keeps an arm free. Watch every one of those highlights you saw. He had an arm totally free where he's able to grab and finish. Some guys get caught up in the middle and then they can't get away.
Well, I can't wait to see if you agree with our poll coming up now, because we're going to see the predictions from the coaches and media as far as who's going to finish where. So we're going to start with that with our SWAC East First, you see the East and the West there on the screen. Jackson State predicted to defend their
Alabama Valley
in first place in the East, and Florida A&M right on their heels. Those two were very close last year. I think that's going to be a pretty good race. And then it's Alabama A&M at number 3, Alabama State at 4, Bethune-Cookman at number 5, and Mississippi Valley State at number 6. But you know what? I go back to it. You can't sleep on the Rattlers. Florida A&M should be good, and I think Mississippi Valley and Bethune-Cookman will be better this year.
I think Coach Willie Simmons is putting highlights of Jackson State all during the offseason, just trying to get under his players' skin, right? And say, everybody's picking Jackson State. See, we're nobodies. They're going to carry that as a badge of honor, and they're going to go in and say, everyone's talking about Coach Brum. Everyone's talking about them. What about us? What about us? You watch, that's going to be
the interesting one right there.
They're incredibly talented. They are good, and they're going to bring it. And they're going to make Jackson State
I was
turn it.
flip the Grambling versus Prairie View.
I think Jackson State, you got to beat the champs to get through them, and I think they deserve to be that number 1 spot.
A lot of changes going on in the West also as we take a look at the West now. Of course, Southern University may surprise a couple of people because they were predicted to be first in this preseason poll. Of course, last year Southern had some issues. They struggled a little bit, but we talked about it before we sat down here today, and they had so much talent on that team. So I'm not surprised that the coaches and the media think Southern University is going to come back
y'all
with
think
all of their talent and win the West. But with that said, Texas Southern's going to.
Do y'all think that Southern's going to actually be able to win the West? I think between Southern, Alcorn, and Grambling, but
they're coming. They just never came. They never got it all together. They had, whatever was going on inside that organization, it just wasn't coming together. They have a lot of talent. We've seen what Coach Dooley can do with talent, and I think that's why you say, hey, they're probably the odds-on favorite to do something. We know this coach can bring some offense, and they've got some talent to deliver.
4 coaches that are always going to be under the microscope, especially in the SWAC this year. You talk about Coach Deion Sanders at Jackson State. Now you have Hugh Jackson at Grambling. You have Eddie Robinson going to Alabama State there, which is a lot of fun. So you're going to have to keep your guys. And then how about Bubba McDowell at Prairie View? So it's going to be interesting to have those guys with that NFL influence as head coaches in the SWAC.
Well, it brings some standard, right, to your players of what expectations are. All these young men would love to have an opportunity to do something in the NFL. But at the end of the day, they still enjoy what would it take to be an NFL player. And these coaches can say, look, I've been there, I've done this. This is what it takes. If you're even thinking about it, here's what expectations are. And a lot of that is doing things that aren't necessarily on the stats or not so shiny, right? That's what NFL is about. And I think that's what they bring to these players and these organizations. And I love what it brings to the conference. It elevates the conference, no question about it. And I'm excited to see where that brings it.
Well, we saw some very talented players there, and we saw some bold predictions for how the season is going to work out. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm extremely happy to be looking forward to this season. I think we're going to see a lot of things going on. And Jorge and I will have our first game on September 3rd at Prairie View for the Labor Day Classic between Texas Southern and Prairie View. That game will start at 6 p.m. on ESPN+. But for now, we're going to head back to Birmingham to Tiffany and Jay. Take it away, guys.
Finally, tell your friends what y'all all been looking for, right?
Okay.
So Jackson State's up next. So, dead honest, we know they're not going to get any tough questions. I do know Coach Walker is for Tomorrow Leader Sports Network, he is at the SWAC Media Day. So I think y'all definitely go ahead and if you're not subscribed to Coach Walker, definitely go check him out because he will have interviews with all the teams. Like he was at the SIAC Media Day. He's interviewing players. I think he texted me already, so he already talked to Andrew Body of Texas Southern. So definitely, after this stream is over, you definitely want to check out Coach Walker and Tomorrow Leader Sports Network to give you all the up-to-date stats and all the up-to-date interviews. What's going on at the SWAC Media Day conference. Yeah, that's basically it. But once the commercial goes away and get tired of seeing Gronkowski talking, we'll go ahead and go to Jackson State. And I think from there, from Jackson, I don't know who's next after Jackson, but Mississippi Valley State. There you go.
Birmingham for the 2022 Cricket SWAC Football Media Day.
Go further back for y'all.
Zero Sugar inside the Sheraton Hotel. And on stage now, the SWAC champions, the Jackson State Tigers, with their head coach, Coach Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, along with Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter. We thank you so much for being here with us. Gentlemen, congratulations on a great season for sure. Shador, you come off as the National Freshman of the Year, the Jerry Rice Award winner. You just heard Butch and Jorge in studio talk about you're the SWAC preseason offensive player of the year. Shoulder all of these expectations. Travis may have a little something to say about
already. The freshman already. Speak on it.
So wait a minute, Travis, you gonna come for that?
I'm going for it.
Okay.
Oh, what's up with your leg, man?
Yeah, I may give him the Jerry Rice Award. He can win it this year because I won it last year. We gotta keep it in the program. We're gonna keep it in the Jackson State house though.
Okay, so keep it in house, and of course, Coach Prime is the Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year within FCS, but Shador just shouldering the expectation, coming off a record 11 wins, best in school history, going undefeated in the SWAC. You got all personal honors as well. How have you managed all of that attention and expectation for this program?
Really just taking the time off, relaxing, and getting back to work. We got a new OC, Coach Brett. I have a great relationship with him, and I feel like he's going to take me to the next level.
Brett Bartolone, as he's referring to the new offensive coordinator for Jackson State, and being able to have a target like a guy in the middle like Travis Hunter. We saw a little glimpse of that during the spring. What's this relationship been like since he got on campus?
It's very natural. It's nothing that has to be forced. But I feel like we got the same goals, and we came here for the same reason. So I feel like it's an automatic match. It's a click. So when you get on the field, you'll see, okay, you know, the slot fades and the routes that we have to throw to him is natural.
Travis, I'm going to get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's natural. I mean, we don't pretty much like do after school work. Like, we are on the field. Once we're on the field, he already know what I like. I already know what type of routes he like to throw. So it's pretty much just natural.
IQ is there.
The IQ is there.
IQ is
You
there.
appreciate that. So we got prime time, and I have a feeling this could be a tandem known as Showtime in the SWAC this season. Jay, your thoughts on what we saw from this group?
I think when you see Jackson State, you know.
My question is,
it's not just start
what's up with the foot, man?
You know, they got star power, Jackson State. I think the great teams have to have that star power, explosive. They've got speed, and they've improved so much tremendously. Yes. That being said, I'm not even going to ask the question. I'm just going to say this. Coach Prime, speak on it.
We addressed the shortcomings that we ended with last year. We need a little more beef up front. We got to get people from on his back, like we saw several times last season. So you may not even see a starter that was starting last season on the offensive line when we kick off against FAMU. Defensively, we knew we needed some pressure in the front. We have probably James Houston was a wonderful talent. I feel like we have 4 of those now, and push up the front because that quarterback is going to step up to try to escape out the pocket. We got some push up the front, probably 8 of those. Secondary is phenomenal with Travis and a few others that I can't wait till you see them. And the linebacker core led by Aubrey Miller is phenomenal as well. So defensively, we stepped it up. We led not the FCS, we led the nation in sacks last season. We led the nation. So we stepped that up on a whole another level as well. But offensively, adding Brett Bartolome is phenomenal. And we went out and acquired the strength and conditioning coach from the University of Georgia. Mo has done a wonderful job, what he's brought to our strength and conditioning department. So you're going to see the dividends of those pay off.
And let's talk about that, because normally coming off a successful season, only, the one loss there.
Yeah, that's my question, man. What's going on with Travis Hunter's leg?
Okay, let's just improve a little bit. But you kind of made some wholesale changes.
Yeah.
Left your comfort zone.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning behind that?
Because I saw holes. I saw holes in our armor. I saw holes in our game. And I want these guys to be great. The only way these guys sitting around the outside of this room is going to make it to the next level is that they dominate. So I want to put them in the situation that they can be very dominant and giving them all the resources that we can to enable that.
All right, let's look into the details. So you're coming into, this will be your third season, but second real full official season.
You can't count that spring
You don't
medicine
count
season. You can't count that whole season.
So-
I barely even knew the kids.
True, that's that. But
Count that.
But going from that, what's the experience? You and I, we talked a
Love
little bit
it.
off camera. What's the experience been like coming in, what you thought you would get, how it's going out, where you think it can go? What's it mean for you,
Well-
Deion Sanders, the man, and the vision that you have?
These coaches around the outside of this corridor can coach their butts off. And these players can really play. They just need the exposure and the resources to do so. It's a lot better. I didn't expect less, but these guys are really darn good. Now, the foolishness none of us want to deal with up here, that we have to deal with, and you know darn well what I'm talking about. I ain't sugarcoating that. We don't want to deal with that. But as far as all the football stuff, they have it. These kids really have it, and these coaches are phenomenal. I applaud them.
Now, I want to chime in there because recently, Coach Prime, you had some thoughts on the tradition of HBCUs, and now that you're within the SWAC, where does that tradition take us? And
Well,
how
what you
to
talking
move
about?
us
When you
forward?
say tradition, what you talking about? What you talking about? I want to know what you're talking about when you say tradition, because when a parent comes and sit in my office and I'm trying to ensure that I'm going to take care of that baby, she's talking about housing and she's talking about food. His mother want to make sure he's housed properly and he's eating properly. She ain't say nothing about tradition. I love tradition. I love what we are. But when you start talking about that, you got to identify what you're talking about. Because I need to know what you're talking about.
Well, you can talk about tradition, talk about the tradition of Walter Payton, Lynn Barney.
Oh, you're talking about the football. There you go. Football tradition. Talk about that. Because there's all kind of stuff we talk about when we mention that word. Okay? Oh, I love that. I met a multitude of those greats, especially all the one that's matriculated from Jackson State. Oh, yes. A fine tradition of football players. But when we start talking about the way things are kept in the business practices, I don't see that. But the football players, yeah,
And
that's
you got
tradition.
a guy like your son. You know, he wants to join that list of like the Doug Williams of the world, the
Yes.
Aaron McNair of the world.
Football.
Come out.
You talking football. You got to verify football tradition. Okay, come on now, I'm waiting. Let's go. I'm feeling.
But because there's a larger HBCU tradition,
Yes.
right? And so those who have matriculated, those alumni who
alumni.
flee and flock back to the universities, they love the pageantry that goes with
Yeah.
it. You know, we always talk about giving.
11% of alumni give back to the HBCUs. 11%.
Start a new tradition on that.
11%.
We need to start a new tradition
You
on
just said
that.
tradition. You talking about the alumni that
We
flock
need to
back
get up
to
to
the
25,
You talking about the
30.
alumni who flock back to the homecomings. We got 11% giving. We need to take care of that, because when we take care of that, these kids are better situated. They're eating better. They're housed better. They're clothed better. Their books are better. Everything is better when we start really giving. We talking, but we ain't not giving.
Shador, let me ask you a question. I know one of the
Damn.
best moments of the college football season.
Travis lost his hair.
You had at Southern University, dad coming out of the hospital to be there, and the brother delivering with the interception there. What that mean like, and how do you top that in 2022?
I would say the only way you could top that is by holding up that trophy right there. That's the only way we could top it. But him coming out the hospital, coming to that game, the way how we won the game, and you know, it's just a family trio. Well, we got 4 brothers. We got 4 people. We got Osakin too. So nah.
Everybody's
It feels
converging
good.
on Jackson for the Sanders family. I'm going to ask Travis to come into a family like that, right? And I'm not just saying the Sanders family, but I'm just saying the Jackson State family. What has your reception been like, and how have you felt welcomed?
I mean, they pretty much make sure I'm welcome. I mean, I pretty much do everything they do as a family. I mean, I'm welcome to anywhere they're going, I'm there. So pretty much I'm right behind them no matter what, and they don't put me in the shadow or nothing. They put me up front.
Trav, you know what? Here's a question. I want you to just answer this, because I think a lot of people want to know this. Why Jackson State?
Good
And the
question.
courage to make that decision. What was your thought press
I
behind
mean,
it?
I always want to be different. You see, I play both ways. pretty much different. I got a family, I got brothers and sisters. They probably not gonna have the same talent that's coming out of high school like I have. So I want to go ahead and pave that way for them to go ahead and look down and be like, yeah, my brother got exposure for going to HBCU. So I want them to know that they can go to HBCU and still get to where they want to be and achieve their goal, how they want to achieve it.
I applaud that decision. I'm going to ask each of you what's going to be different about Jackson State this year.
I would say finish.
That trophy right there.
I would say finish. Just the whole mindset of the team, just every rep. That's what we're preaching right now is finish. When we eat in the cafeteria, we're finishing our food. So that's the main thing that we're preaching right now is just stay consistent in what we're doing and just finish and just be dominant.
Travis, what does that say to you? What does that mean?
We got to finish with that right there. If we don't finish with that, the season wasn't what we wanted to accomplish. We want to finish with that trophy right there.
We won. We got to be dominant. We got to be dominant. I mean dominant. We ain't playing no games. We trying to make sure when they go back home, it wasn't no shot at winning. We trying to be dominant. The only way they're going to get to the NFL, the next level, is they dominant. The only reason they're going to get a Fortune 500 job is they're dominant academically. The only way they're going to be looked upon as a better person is they're dominant in the community. So everything that we're touching right now, Jackson State, we're trying to dominate. That's the thing.
Does that cricket celebration bowl still kind of get at you?
We don't give a damn about no cricket celebration bowl. It's a wonderful event, and the hospitality was great. We just got caught slipping. We got caught slipping. We ain't thought about it. We ain't thought about it. We moving on, and we're gonna be dominant. I bet you that.
Okay, I want you to think about this schedule as we show it on the screen in terms of, how do you feel like it's comprised of the teams that you're excited about?
That first game right there with my dear friend Willie Simmons could be, that game could have ramifications of the championship. That's how important that first game is. Then you go into another one of my guys, Eddie George. I look good, but I'm 54, so you're gonna have to make that bigger so I can see who we playing.
Did you follow that? You go to Grambling?
We go to Grambling. Hugh Jackson, Coach Jackson is unbelievable what he's done with that program thus far. That's going to be a task because he can coach his butt off, and he's going to energize those guys to play. And we playing at the crib.
Let me ask you this question there. As we see the rest of the schedule, you kind of brought the eyes and ears with bringing the NFL legend coaching. Mm-hmm. Now you got the star power of coaching coming. Eddie Robinson, Alabama State NFL player. Bubba McDowell.
That's right.
Guy Hugh there. What advice you give those guys taking it on?
Yeah, I already gave him advice. Already gave him a lot of advice. We talk. I'm praying for everybody. Let's just say that. I'm praying for all the coaches around these tables, and they know darn well what I mean.
All right, quarterback. Which game on that schedule stands out to you?
I want to say a game specifically, like every game.
You don't give me that plain answer, man?
Nah, it's not plain, though. It's the truth because we just can't get caught slipping how we did at the end of the year. So that's why I say it's about finish, it's about dominating, it's about just like putting up numbers.
And what's the one thing you're trying to add to your repertoire? As a quarterback, we're always trying to get better. Off-season workouts.
I'm trying to find out, Jermaine.
Your repertoire to improve upon.
I'll say from the ears up, just mental. I'll say just knowing exactly where I'm going with the ball, pre-snap, post-snap, getting better at my drop, just the little things, just fine-tuning the things.
One of the most polarizing coaches in all of football, and obviously he's got the star power to go along with it. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Coach Prime, we thank you so much.
This kid right here, let me end with this. This kid right here, I can't wait till you see him play on both sides of the ball. I cannot wait till you see him get down.
Oh, we got a
can't
taste.
wait.
We got a taste, and everybody in this room will get better introduced.
As the young people say, it's a problem. He's a problem.
No problem, man.
He's a problem.
He's a problem. That's a whole different problem. It's a whole different problem that James presented.
Coach Prime, I want to ask you about something in terms of obviously. There are a number of things that you have personally done to make Jackson State better since being there, but giving up half of your salary is something that is unorthodox. The thought behind that and why?
They deserve it. They deserve it. We can't show off the locker room and then we're not going to enter unless we move. We could talk about it. A lot of folks talking about it. I'm truly about it. A lot of folks talking about bringing solvency to problems. I'm truly about it. A lot of folks talk about what they're going to do. I actually do it. A lot of folks talk about where they're going. I actually go. These guys matter to me. They mean everything to me. We wouldn't even have no darn SWAC press conference if it wasn't for these guys. So we got to take care of these guys. I don't promise nothing that I can't deliver, and I don't even promise nothing. I just give opportunities. So
honestly, Jermaine, I'm looking for it right now.
I'm sick and tired of us trying to say, well, the other Power Fives, and they do this and they do that, and we can't even do the little things that we can control doing. Do it. God is going to take care of me. I don't even worry about the money, the financial part of that. I don't even worry about that. God got that. I got them.
And these student athletes have absolutely shown us thus far today, and getting to talk to now 7 teams, that they matter. And these student athletes are the reason why we're able to get together on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays and enjoy. So we appreciate you all being here. Thank you for what you do. Great window into the university. We'll be back with more from our SWAC Media Day in Birmingham, Alabama.
So Valley's next. Y'all come back with me, yeah?